And good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Rohr. I'm TE Connectivity's Director of Technology Strategy for our automotive business. And I'm pleased to be here at the Battery Show. And I'm here with Ajay Bhargava.
Good morning.
Ajay is our Senior Manager for Hybrid and Electric Mobility Solutions. And we're here at the Battery Show to talk about Charged for Change, Megatrends in High Voltage Connectivity. Good morning, Ajay.
Hey, good morning. Really excited. It's a great show, and I think it's the future. We are sitting here defining the future.
All right. Well, fantastic. Well, good. Well, then let's just go
Let's
ahead
get
and
started.
let's get things started. So let's talk a bit about, we're here at the Battery Show. Let's talk about high voltage connectivity, right? What is, really going on in the world of high voltage connectivity? What's really driving the need for high voltage connectivity? Can you talk to us and our viewers here about some of the trends in high voltage connectivity?
So basically, the way I see it is there's a lot of consciousness about the environment, and then along with that, you got legislation driving that reduction of carbon dioxide, and then also need for more power in our vehicles. So that's what's driving a lot of it. And then high voltage, it comes down to basic physics. You got power, voltage, and current. So you play with those two variables, and you get more power.
All
So
right.
that's where we are leading.
Okay, fantastic. So you mentioned here about the green piece and some of the
Right.
legislation with, I think you talk CO2 emissions and the lightweighting side on there. So that's certainly driving that. Anything else that's driving some of the need for really the aluminum connectivity?
Well, the other part is so you need to reduce weight. If you want to get your fuel efficiency up, you need to reduce weight. Aluminum is a great option. It conducts power. There are some challenges of processing it, but TE Connectivity has invested a lot. We right now, and there we have a whole segment on light aluminum coming up later. So I'll leave that dialogue there, but definitely weight reduction is a key part of what TE is investing in. So aluminum is one of the solutions that we are highly focused on.
Okay, fantastic. So some key trends there. Any
Right.
other trends here? You mentioned I think the green side of that. You mentioned the lightweighting side of that. Anything on the safety end here as well?
Yeah, so it's a different world. Once you move out of the 12 volt, safety becomes a concern, and the industry is doing it, taking it very seriously. And they're within the connection systems. Yet I heard talking about connection systems. Every high voltage connection system has the safety built into it. You got interlock, you got touch safe, and that's what TE is focused again on, that aspect of it. How do you make it efficient? How do you make it so that the size doesn't increase, the cost doesn't go up, and it's very reliable? So exactly, with high voltage, you do have to manage those aspects of it. Along with that, with high voltage comes the additional requirements of creepage clearance, getting a little technical, but that's all part of the challenges of managing high voltage connection systems.
So perfect segue to the next question.
Okay,
right?
cool.
So you started getting at some of the key challenges here. And I think some of those you were talking technically, but
Right.
there's challenges, technical, et cetera. Can you walk us through some of the challenges, in the world of high voltage connectivity for automotive?
So from a high voltage perspective, and the application in the automotive world, if you focus on that, there's the acceptance of the whole vehicle part of it, and that we are working through that. People have range anxiety. There's the infrastructure piece, there's the battery life piece, and the cost part of it. From a connection system perspective, what T is investing in, okay. From a TNC perspective, we have developed a portfolio that will go from the low currents to the high currents. So it could be in a small vehicle, it could be in a bus. We have expanded it to other applications too. So from a connection system perspective, it's also drives into availability. So we have manufacturing that is global. So we have manufacturing plants in China, Japan, Korea, Europe, and North America. So that's access needs to be there.
Okay, got it. So can we then dig in maybe one of the points you made right at the beginning? You talked about acceptance. So I just
Right.
want to make sure I was clear on that. When you talk about acceptance, you mean, is it consumer acceptance? Is it government acceptance? What did you mean by acceptance?
Great question. I think a lot of it also has to do with consumer acceptance. Um, you don't want. I've got a daughter who's just starting to drive. Okay. The last thing you want is she calling, and she's on the side of the roads, calling to say, "Hey, I don't have power in my car. Can you get a extra battery or a substitute vehicle?" So that range anxiety is there, and the industry is focused on that. They are driving, extending the range, and that's where TE connectivity comes in with their battery solutions. How do you take the same battery and extend the range? And that ties in with our sensors. And once again, we have a segment coming in later in the day where we talk about sensors, but that's the other part of it. How do you have the connectivity in the battery that can extend the range also?
Okay, fantastic. And then maybe just sticking with that one more is the piece here with maybe the performance side of that, between the electric vehicle and an internal combustion engine. A few weeks ago, we just had here in Detroit, we had the Woodward Dream Cruise, right, where every year we see all the Detroit muscle and muscle cars coming through, and don't see a lot of electric vehicles there yet. Is that something we'll see in the future, you think?
Absolutely. There are niche players there who are making these classic cars all electric. We have the alliance. We are working with Andretti. They got the whole e racing going on, and we are part of that relationship. Very proud to be, and that's a great platform for us to be testing out stuff, getting the high miles, the high exposure when it comes to vibration environment, and that's where our connectors are being tested. Our product is being tested in the future, so it's going to be exciting.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ajay. So let's dig into that then. So I think we've hit some of the key challenges here. You've hit around some of the consumer acceptance, range anxiety. I want to make sure I heard you correctly. Right. We're seeing performance there as good, if and some superior to some internal combustion engine. Right. With some technology challenges have to occur, and you talked about safety issues, things like that. So can you walk us through a little bit about TE connectivity specifically? Where is TE focused on how to address these challenges? Where's TE spending its money for the future to address these challenges?
So we have, from a TE perspective, we have broken the space up in terms of you have the infrastructure part, you got the connectors, T's and as we call it, terminals and connectors. You got the battery management part of it, and then you have the charging part of it. And in all four spaces, TE is invested.
Okay. So let's talk. So we talk a little. Sorry. So we talk a little bit about then those spaces. How about, you mentioned one of those four spaces was the battery. Can you walk through a little bit about those battery connections?
Sure, absolutely. So within the battery, you have the cells, and then combination of the battery creates a module. So TE has invested in the developing connections from cell to cell. Could be module to module. Also the battery management part of it. You got the contactors that help with the switching the battery on and off, or we have the service disconnects that help to manage it's like the on-off switch.
Okay.
So that aspect of it. And then the sensors. Sensors is a key part of this whole environment, and that's the other part that we are really focused on.
And then we'll actually be talking to Scott Phillips later today on another Google Hangout on the sensor side. So some opportunity, sensing, connections within the battery. That was, I think, one of the spaces. The other space you talked about was T's and C's, or terminals and connectors.
Yeah, so on the connectors, as I mentioned earlier, taking different applications in the vehicle, and we got a whole portfolio that we have tooled up. So TE took the effort, they invested, anticipating the demand, and we are taking it to the next generation too. So we went through, it's like the computers, right? You started off, and now you see them smaller, getting smaller, more efficient. And similarly with TE's portfolio, we're getting into the second generation of our connection systems. Very much focused on safety and efficiency, both from a power and from a cost perspective. So that's been our focus with the connector, and then the weight part of it. Okay. So we introduced our connections with copper wire, and now we are in the development phase to be using aluminum cable with those connections.
So with those connections you talked about, I think, so there's lighter material for the lightweighting, the aluminum, and then you talked about the miniaturization piece, so less material.
That's right.
Got it. Excellent. Yep. So then I think you mentioned two other spaces. We could hit those. You mentioned the charging side. There's some work being done over there.
Yeah. So from a charging perspective, we are investing in the inlets. Inlets are pretty much it's like the plug that you have in the house. This one, it's on a car. So we got inlets that support all global standards. So you have predominantly 3 to 4 standards. We are invested in at least 3 of them. And then supporting that is the charging cable. You need the cable from the wall to the vehicle. We have invested in the charging cable too. And that's a space because it's a consumer interface. There's a lot of stuff going on there in terms of what type of response you get, what type of information the customer can see. Can you see that feedback on your iPhone? So those are the things that our team is working on, and it's pretty exciting.
And
stuff.
the race is on, right?
That's
For those
correct.
things.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And then I think the fourth one you mentioned, I think just make sure I'm clear, it was on the manufacturing piece, the fact that TE Connectivity has set up manufacturing technology or manufacturing capability near our customers and global for all of these product lines to serve our
Absolutely.
customers, wherever they manufacture, wherever they design.
That's correct. With high voltage, given the complexity of the product and the safety requirements, we have invested on our traditional terminals and connectors, but taken that beyond to cable assemblies. Uh, it's not something that traditional cable assembly folks can assemble now. So TE has invested in cable assemblies too, and we are pretty excited about that opportunity in getting into that space of cable assemblies, and been pretty successful up to date.
Yeah, fantastic. Great, thank you. So let's move our topic a little bit here. I'm looking for the crystal ball to hand you. Right, time to
Okay.
do a little prediction. So I mentioned the fact of seeing all the Detroit muscle cars at the Dream Cruise a few weeks ago. That's 25 years and older vehicles.
Right.
And in the last 25 years, technology has been incredible through technology with controls and safety from internal combustion engines, et cetera. Now we're seeing the electrification, electronification side of that. So can you talk a little bit here about, with lots of tech that's occurred in these last 25 years, are we going to see that kind of tech for those next 25? And what might we be seeing some of the focus being in this world of the electric vehicle space?
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting, right? We in this industry just tend to innovate. We just can't sit still. So that's what's
Thank
going to
goodness.
exactly. That's what's going to drive the next excitement. We have started this journey. It's just the start of the journey, and I see ourselves be going beyond these applications, high voltage applications, going beyond the cars and the buses. You can see that in the marine industry. They are experimenting and actually uh, implementing some of the stuff. Stationary storage is getting big. You look in the show here, you got a lot of people with the stationary storage. So it's going to go beyond the transportation industry, and a lot of acceptance there. Uh, I can. There have been announcements recently in the press about having a stationary storage within the house, so you don't need your generator that has to be kicked on. This thing is there. So I think taking the technology that's being developed here, both from a battery side and connectors perspective, it's going to expand in the adjacent markets. And TE, TE has the wonderful opportunity to be in a lot of these industries. And I have the opportunity, and our team has the opportunity to work with all these industries with our products. So we're taking knowledge from other industries and incorporating that in the products that we are offering now. So it's a pretty exciting world in the future.
Fantastic. And I want to talk about the stationary storage just for
Yep.
a minute, so make sure I'm clear in what I had heard. So an opportunity here, we've got mobile storage, right, with the batteries within a vehicle moving.
Right.
Now an opportunity here for some power, whether it be buildings or backup emergency, maybe other types of industries and vehicles, et cetera. There's an opportunity here now to connect all of those and
That's
propagate, and TE is involved in all those industries.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely.
No, very helpful.
Yep.
So a lot of investment on that side. And then we were talking before air, so maybe
Right.
I'll bring that up here as well. We talked about just that whole piece around some of the other adjacent businesses and other core businesses that TE is involved with, whether it's within connected car and connected vehicle. The whole piece around, you mentioned earlier, the infrastructure side. But even to drive efficiencies here for vehicles and for EVs and for the range anxiety, et cetera, a lot of connections into the connected car space as
That's
well,
right.
right? And we see that with some of our customers and some of the vehicles on the road today as well, right?
That's correct. And it's one of those things as people get more comfortable, it's change. So as people get more comfortable, and that doesn't just involve the consumer. You have the whole dealership, you have the service personnel, all everyone has to get comfortable. They have to be informed. So that's part of our mission to create the product and then the education part of it.
All right.
So
Fantastic.
you can go to our website. There's a lot of information there too. Plus, we are a phone call away.
All right. No,
Yeah.
fantastic. So I think with that, Ajay, I think some great great technology here. Exciting time here at the Battery Show and I'm looking forward to engaging with customers and partners
Right.
alike on here. Before we break up here, any closing thoughts from your side here, just to wrap up the discussion here around trends in the electric world.
Well, so as a closing, the internal combustion engine has done some phenomenal work in the last few years in terms of getting the efficiency up. But then we need to go beyond, uh, increase the fuel efficiency, the amount of power that we can get within our vehicles and within the transportation segment. And that's where high voltage comes in. And TE, from an organizational perspective, has invested in that next generation of connectors, along with the safety aspect, the connectivity, the the robustness of the connection is also very important. So that's the other aspect that we are focused on. And then to go beyond the applications that are in the automotive or transportation, or how do you take it beyond that? So that's been our focus, and it's going to be an exciting journey here. Been with this industry for the last 5 to 6 years. I think this is just the start. It's just the beginning.
Just the beginning. I love that. That's a great way to wrap that up for us. So with that, Ajay, I want to thank you very much
Thank you
for
very
your
much,
time.
Steve.
That was fantastic. I want to encourage folks to join us here later in the day. We've got 2 more Google Hangouts, one on sensor technology and another on our automotive and application tooling technologies that we have. Would strongly encourage all of you to please visit us for more information. Ajay had mentioned it on te.com/automotive, and you can see all of our connections, including links here to this Google Hangout. And for those of us within a driving distance, we strongly encourage you. Please join us here in Novi, Michigan at the Battery Show. It's just getting started as we speak. We're here for 3 days, and I would love to engage with you live. So with that, I thank you very much.
Thank you,
And thanks for joining us on the Google Hangout, and have a good day.